And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at Doughnut Dash, where there is a donut factory and you have a couple thieves trying to steal donuts from that factory. Donuts, as we all know, are some of the most delicious things ever made in existence, and I try to avoid them lately, but man, they tempt me every time I see one, and I can see why they're tempting people to steal. This is a programming game, except you're playing direction cards to show which direction your thieves are going to run each turn, and sometimes that may not turn out so well. I'll show you. In this game, players are trying to collect donuts. Donuts are worth points. Ketchup donuts, of course, are nasty and are worth negative a point. Chocolate donuts are worth 3. Pink lemonade donuts are worth 1, which is not that much, but every time you get one, you're also going to get to draw a Sugar Rush card. The blueberry violet donuts are worth 6 points, but when you get one of those, you have to give someone else a Sugar Rush card. And rainbow frosted donuts are worth points equal to how many you have. If you have 8, they're worth 64, so basically the square of that. How do you get these donuts? Well, you got 2 thieves that will start on the board, and each player is also going to have a handful of cards that match the directions that are placed on the board at the beginning of the game: north, south, east, and west. Each round of the game, one player is the first player. Everyone is going to simultaneously play a card and reveal it. Starting with the first player, each player is going to move both of their thieves that direction. So for example, if I was the yellow player, I'm going to move through here and until you get to a spot where you're blocked or you get a donut. So here I would get a donut. Here I'm moving west and I move off the board, loop around, and get the chocolate donut. That was not a bad first move. Now, if you ever hit a barrier, these are basically walls, you're going to stop. If you hit these reflecting barriers here, you start moving in the opposite direction. As donuts are revealed, teleports will be revealed, and if you move through a teleport, you come out the other one moving in the same direction as when you went in it. If you're forced to stop on somebody else, you'll steal a donut from them. It's the top of their stack. As you're collecting donuts, you're going to put them on a stack in front of you. If it falls over, you lose a donut. And if somebody steals from you, they steal the top one, but you get a Sugar Rush card. And if for some reason you end up in an infinite loop, which will happen. It's happened in every game I've played. You're just bouncing back and forth, whatever. You can pick any one of those spots to stop in. Sugar Rush cards are worth points at the end of the game. They're worth 0, 1, or 2 points. If you play the card at any point, and you can play them, here, change direction of both thieves by 90 degrees. Swap the positions of the top and bottom donuts to someone else's stack. Rotate a tile of your choice 90 degrees. Switch the order of 2 donuts atop your stack. One thief takes a break and does not move. If you play the card, you don't get the points at the end of the game. If you don't, you get the points. So you're just going to keep going until there's only one ketchup donut left, or when one person's donut stack has got to maximum height, which is 20 donuts in a 2-player game or 10 donuts in a 4-player game. Anyhow, when that happens, players will play to the end of the round, and then you score. Most points is the winner. The components for the game are good in the donuts. You have to put these stickers on, but that's not that big of a deal. I think the donuts look pretty. They're easy to tell apart. I really want to eat a strawberry lemonade donut. I don't think I've ever had one, but I like how they look. Card quality, less excited about that. They're okay, but they're not good quality cards. One thing I think is a really big missed opportunity is I was surprised they only printed on one side of the tiles. Since the tile is randomly placed at the beginning of the game in a 4x4 grid, what would have hurt to put a different configuration on the back? It's not a big deal, but I'm just kind of surprised it wasn't done. The whole thing is in a nice white box with the name of the company on it, but not the name of the game, and then a sleeve. I'm not particularly fond of this kind of setup. It's okay, but it just comes across a little cheaper. The rule book itself is fine, so for the most part, I'm happy with the component quality. One thing I should mention in Doughnut Dash is that you can't play the same direction card twice in a row. So if I play south, the next turn I have to play a different card. That's not a big deal. Usually you want to go in a different direction, but it is something to keep in mind. So there's a lot of things I really like about Doughnut Dash, but it's kind of weird. The flow, the ebb and flow of the game is thus at the middle of the game, or actually, it's kind of weird, maybe between 50 and 75% of the game, and that range is the most fun because you're bouncing off stuff, you're going here, someone grabbed that donut that you were going to get, so now you slide through them and bounce over here and do this. That's really cool. At the beginning, you just move and get a donut. Everyone's doing that, and for a while there's just donuts everywhere, you're grabbing them, and at the end of the game, you're kind of bouncing around until someone manages to grab the donuts that they want. So it's okay at the beginning and the end, but it's best in the late middle part of the game. There's also a few oddities, like the donut stack thing just feels out of place. Like, hey, I'm stacking these donuts and I don't want them to fall over. Okay, but that's kind of a weird rule to have in a game that's about picking the direction, programming your guys to go in this spot. That just felt a little off. I like the game other than that. I think there's a lot of interesting ideas here. The collection of the donuts isn't anything new. Lots of games collect these donuts for points and this. I don't necessarily care for the the blueberry donut. When you get it, you give a card to somebody else. Yes, that's not going to stop me from getting a 6-point donut, so kind of you're like, who is winning? Who's not winning? I'll give you the card. But you might give them the card that helps them. I don't know. That rule felt a little odd because you're picking the person who you're going to help. It's interesting. It's cool. And I'm actually highlighting on my channel because I don't normally take a look at these very small indie games, but this one really caught my eye. I like the donut theme. I like the idea of playing the directions and moving around and bouncing off stuff. It's almost there. The production value brings it down just a bit, and like I said, it's at its strongest for a percentage of the game, not the whole game. And I also don't like that dexterity of donuts things. So there's some negative stuff that brings it down a bit for me. But you better believe I'll be looking at the next game from this designer and this company. I'd like to see what else that they will do in the future. And I think this one would work well in many situations. I played it with my kids. We had a good time. They complained that it was a little too random for them. And there are times where you're kind of bouncing around. The ketchup donuts are -1 point, which is funny, but they're pretty easy to avoid. The only time is if you knowingly go a direction, knowing someone could steal a donut and then you get it, or someone rotates a tile, you can force someone else to get a ketchup donut. But at -1 point, it's not that horrible to get one either. It should be, because a ketchup donut is the worst thing. Who thought that up? Anyhow, a pleasant idea, a pleasant game, could be better, but it's a good start. That's Doughnut Dash. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching the Dice Tower. Dice Tower Judgment, some good ideas, falls just a little short.